I first got into filmmaking as a young lad, being a very big fan of films in general. It was always a great escape, great storytelling. If you could find a good movie like that tells a good story to get into, you can kind of been enthralled and captivated by it. And I'm like nobody, no, no, no. I'm no different than anybody else that probably makes films, for reasons why they enjoy it and got into it. Um, like I said, just from a kid up, I've always been a fan. I started first, got my hands on a video camera when I was shooting like family gatherings, be it cookouts or holiday parties. We were trying to document all of our family life for the most part, which I always tell people it's cool because when you're an old man, that stuff will be good to go back and look at. My sway into film was pretty much, in my teenage years, I had this really do-it-yourself, go-getter attitude. And when you're young, I guess you have that. That's when you have those feels in you. But yeah, so we picked up the camera again. Put together some stories, gathered on the weekend with family and friends, and shot some stuff. And then you started just doing that, and that goes into like my first film. The first couple films I did a short film called Death of a Deli Man. At the time, I was working at Stop and Shop in the deli department. Anybody out there that has worked retail, they know how fun that can be, how great, and how well treated you are. So this character in the film was, treated as well as every other deli person, completely shitted on. And, problems progress throughout a night, and he ends up dead at the end of the night. Not by his own hands, which some people lead to believe. After that, I did another short film called Weight Room Macabre, which was a gentleman goes weightlifting in the middle of the night. At the time, I didn't work. I lived in an apartment building that had like a small little gym in it. And like at 3 o'clock in the morning, me, my cousin, and another kid went in there, and we just shot this, which is also, to anybody thinking about making films, use what you have around you for production value. If you're a mechanic, use the shop. You know what I mean? If you landscape, use the equipment. You know what I mean? Just kind of make the biggest bang for what you have. That's always a plus too. I've been making films since like 2002, 2003. In the late 90s, we were dabbling in some stuff, but they were more like compilation, documentary, jackass type things. We didn't really start to really do narrative stuff until like 2000, 2003. So like that's roughly pushing on 20 years now, which depending on who you ask, that's either a very sad thing or a very good thing. I like to think it's a very good thing. What have I worked on? I'm currently working on. I'm currently trying to put together a film called The Wicked Hollows, which is my next feature, based off of the Bridgewater Triangle, which is a folklore around the South Shore of Massachusetts, where I'm from. And it's been a little trouble to get off the ground. Dealing with, teenagers. I need teenagers in it. Teenagers aren't exactly, I feel like a parent, but teenagers aren't exactly the most reliable or respectable of people. I'm only speaking for a small amount, of course, but the acting ones are a little questionable sometimes, we'll say. With COVID-19, it's becoming more difficult because nobody's leaving their home, and even pre-production, nobody's at places of business or employment, so you can't really even call around for locations, which is unfortunate. I also got my hand in 2 documentaries, one about the Police Academy franchise and one about the Night of the Demons franchise. We currently have a short film being cut up right now. Should be out hopefully in the next couple months. We'll see how things go with COVID. We're in a standstill right now. I think all of film is in a standstill right now. But we're hoping to get them popping. In the past, I've done probably the biggest films I've worked on in the past is there's a film called House Across the Street that I did, which we were lucky enough to get Eric Robertson, Ethan Embry from like Dutch, and Can't Hardly Wait. Courtney Gaines from Children of the Corn and the Burbs, Alex Rocco from The Godfather and The Friends of Eddie Coyle. Worked on a film called The Haunting of Alice D with Kane Hodder. The wonderful Jess Sonnenborn directed that. Um, yeah, been involved with a lot of projects, whether they're through my company Boombastic Films or other people's. Another thing that I'd say for filmmakers or people wanting to get into it is kind of get not just stay in your home base and do things, but try and branch out into your community. Every town, every city kind of has a film community nowadays, so it's not that difficult to kind of find other like-minded individuals. You know what I mean? My advice for filmmakers, the advice I always give filmmakers is just kind of, gather up some friends and family and get out there with a camera and just kind of shoot some stuff, see how things work. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't really realize communication, how important communication is between, actors and crew and just the production in general. So it's good to get out there and kind of go through the motions and see what it takes to, make a film. And then, put it in front of some people to see and get some feedback on it. It might be good, it might be bad. You got to kind of have tough skin in this business. You know what I mean? I always tell people, it's not a business for money. You know what I mean? You make some money. You're not making house and car buying money, but you're making, pay your cell phone bill and be able to splurge and have fun with some money at the end of the month type money. But for the most part, you got to kind of love what you're doing and respect the fact that you're making films that are entertaining people. I tell people, it's funny, without having money, you kind of make up within fresh points where, you get to work with people. Like, I've been blessed enough to work with people I've grown up watching on TV and movies that have respect for, and I've been able to show my films to people that, of the same caliber that have told me they appreciate it and liked them. So, like, that is kind of worth more than money to me, at least, because when I die, I can at least take that with me, and I can't take money with me. So that's a plus. But I'd get out there and I'd make a movie, and by the time you make that movie, when you're done with it, you might realize you like watching movies more than making movies, which isn't a problem. You know what I mean? The community needs more fans always to keep other filmmakers going. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with being a fan, and don't look at yourself as a failure if you decide not to do it after, because hey, you made that one movie. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people sit around and just say, I want to make a movie, and never do. So get out there, try it. If it's for you, it's for you. If not, hey, keep on walking, man. It's all good. You'll figure out what you want to do, and don't get down on it. Don't get discouraged. It's low budget filmmaking. It's one of those things where there isn't a lot of money. I see people all the time claiming to have a lot, making money and off of their things like real money, and I don't believe those people. I think they're fibbing a little bit. I've had discussions with Adam Green of like the Hatchet films and Frozen and stuff. I interviewed him for a documentary a couple of years back, and he said he even struggles at times. So like I find it hard to believe that these low budget filmmakers are doing it big. Usually, just like in big Hollywood, unfortunately or fortunate for them, the people that kind of born starting out with money on their side can get further because you can hire all the right people, you know what I mean? And marketing, people don't understand how big marketing is with films. Your marketing budget's pretty much the same size of the budget that it took to make the film. That's even if you're dealing with a decent budget. The marketing's almost more important than the film sometimes, just to get it out there in front of people and get it seen. So with that, that's try and go back in time and be born into money, and you'll have a better shot at making a film or being a famous filmmaker. I work for a company called Boombastic Films, BOOMBASTIC Films. We're all over social media if you want to check us out. I have some podcasts. I have a Shock Treatment with Mel and Maddie. I have one called Mostly Ghostly, paranormal stuff, Shock Treatment's horror movies and stuff. I have one called Behold the Pale Podcast, which is kind of truther and conspiracy-ish type stuff, but it's not too crazy. It's more opinions and discussion than jamming, opinions down your throat. And I have a vidcast called the BoomBasticast with Alexander Hawk, my brother in Boombastic, and that's on YouTube at Boombastic Media. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a nice day. Follow your dreams. And when nobody else believes in you, I believe in you. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Peace.